Most owners feel at some point that their dog is trying to tell them something they cannot quite hear. Not in the dramatic way, not a Lassie the well moment, but in the quiet, repeated, specific ways she behaves that feel like communication aimed at something they are missing, like a conversation happening just below the frequency they can tune into. That feeling is accurate. Your dog is communicating, constantly, specifically, in a language that is entirely behavioral, and 9 of the things she is trying to tell you are things that, if you knew them, would change how you move through every ordinary day together. Not in the big ways, in the small ones. The ones that make the difference between a dog who is managed and a dog who is genuinely understood. You have probably sensed some of these without being able to name them. The moment you felt you had handled something wrong without knowing what. The interaction that ended with her seeming smaller than before it started. The day she seemed off and you could not locate why. By the end of this, you will have the language for what she has been trying to tell you in each of those moments. And the next time she tries, you will hear it. The first thing she wishes you knew is that the hug is not what you think it is. You hug her because you love her, because the full-body press of your arms around her feels like the most natural expression of affection available to you. Because she holds still, and you read the stillness as acceptance, maybe even enjoyment. The closest equivalent, a foreleg or body pressed across another dog's back, is a dominance behavior, not an affectionate one. When your arms come around her body, her nervous system receives a signal with no positive translation. Restrained with pressure from above, unable to move away. Most dogs learn to tolerate this from people they love because the person is safe and the discomfort is manageable. But watch the face when the hug lands. The slight turning away of the head. The lick of the nose. The eyes going slightly hard. She is not leaning into the hug. She is waiting for it to be over. She loves you. She does not love the hug. She wishes you knew the difference. The second thing is that she reads you're leaving before you leave. The keys, the specific shoes, the particular sequence of movements that precedes the door closing behind you. She has memorized every step of it in order, down to the moment the bag goes on the shoulder. By the time you are reaching for the door, she has known for several minutes what is about to happen. What she wishes you knew is that the way you leave matters to her nervous system in a way the duration of the absence often does not. A prolonged, apologetic departure, the long goodbye, the repeated reassurance, the guilty crouch, and the drawn-out goodbye is not comfort. It is confirmation that the leaving is something to be troubled by. Your distress about leaving teaches her that leaving is distressing. The calm, matter-of-fact departure, brief, warm, unremarkable, tells her the leaving is ordinary. Something that happens and then reverses. Something that does not require a response beyond waiting. She does not need a long goodbye. She needs to see, in your body, that you will be back. The third thing she wishes you knew is that consistency is more important to her than almost anything else you can offer. Not obedience training, not an elaborate routine. Consistency, the specific, reliable predictability of what happens in her world and when. The walk that comes at the same time. The meal that arrives on schedule. The version of you that is the same version today that it was yesterday. Long-term behavioral observation of dogs in domestic settings shows that predictability in daily routine is one of the strongest contributors to low baseline stress in dogs. Not stimulation, not variety, not novelty, predictability. Her nervous system is calibrated for a world it can anticipate. When that world is consistent, the calibration holds, and she can rest. When it is erratic, same dog, same house, different rules every day, different energy every morning. The calibration has to run constantly, and the running is exhausting. She does not need exciting. She needs reliable. She wishes you knew how much those two things are not the same. The fourth thing she wishes you knew is that she can hear the difference between your moods before you have shown them to anyone. Not just the obvious ones, not just the raised voice or the slammed door, the quiet ones, the particular quality of your footstep on a hard morning. The specific way your breathing changes when you're carrying something you have not named yet. The tension in your hand when you reach down to pet her. That tells her something is different today, even though nothing looks different. She has been tracking these signals since the day she arrived. She has built a map of you that is more detailed, in some dimensions, than the map any other person in your life is carrying. She knows the difference between you're tired and you're sad and you're angry before you have produced any of the behaviors those states eventually generate. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. She wishes you knew this not as a curiosity but as a practical fact, because the state you are in when you interact with her is the state she is responding to. Even when you believe you are presenting neutrally, she is not reacting to what you show. She is reacting to what you are. The fifth thing she wishes you knew is that the sniff is not a delay. On the walk, when she stops to read the base of a tree for 45 seconds, while you stand there calculating how far you have not gone, the sniff is not stalling. The sniff is not defiance. The sniff is not her being difficult. The sniff is the walk. Her nose processes a density of information that is difficult to overstate. Behavioral observation of canine olfaction suggests dogs can detect odors at concentrations nearly 100,000 times lower than humans can register. The scent information available at the base of a single tree on a single morning is the equivalent of reading a detailed account of everyone who passed. When they passed, their health, their stress level, whether they were male or female, whether any of them were in heat, and several things for which there is no human translation. She is not wasting time. She is doing the thing that makes the walk worthwhile from inside her experience. A walk that allows her to sniff is not just physical exercise, it is mental engagement. Environmental reading. The full use of her primary sense in the way it was built to be used. She wishes you knew that letting her sniff is not a concession. It is the point. The sixth thing she wishes you knew is that she notices when you are not present with her. Not every moment. Not the ordinary background of a shared life. But the moments when you are physically there and entirely somewhere else, scrolling, half-watching something, performing interaction while genuinely elsewhere. She reads those, not with judgment, not with resentment, but she reads them. The quality of attention she receives affects her. A short period of real presence actually with her, actually engaged, actually there, is worth significantly more to her than a long period of occupied proximity. She does not need all of you all the time. She needs some of you sometimes, fully, genuinely, the specific version of you that is actually in the room. She wishes you knew that 10 minutes of real attention fills something in her that hours of shared physical space does not. The seventh thing she wishes you knew is that punishment after the fact teaches her nothing except that you are unpredictable. The chewed shoe discovered an hour later. The accident on the rug found when you return home. The thing she did while you were gone. Corrected after it is over. These corrections do not reach the behavior. They reach her relationship with you in the moment. She does not connect the correction to the action she took an hour ago. She connects the correction to what is happening right now. Your return, your presence, your sudden shift in emotional state, and she learns that your return is sometimes a threatening event. The guilty look that owners read as proof she knows what she did is not guilt. Behavioral research into canine responses to owner displeasure has established that dogs produce appeasement behaviors, lowered body, soft eyes, ears back, in response to owner frustration, regardless of whether they performed the relevant behavior. She looks guilty when you are angry. Not because she connected the correction to the act, because you are angry and she is trying to reduce that. She wishes you knew this not to excuse the behavior but to redirect the response, toward prevention, toward management, toward the circumstances that set the behavior up. She cannot learn from punishment, she cannot connect to action. She can only learn that you are sometimes unpredictable. The eighth thing she wishes you knew is that she needs you to be calm at the door. Your energy at arrivals is her energy at arrivals. The excited, high-pitched greeting, the one that matches and amplifies her arousal, does not feel good to her nervous system the way it might feel good to yours. It escalates what is already a peak moment into something she cannot regulate. It teaches her that arrivals are occasions for high arousal, which is part of why arrivals involve jumping and spinning and a body she cannot bring under control. She is glad you are home. She does not need you to perform that gladness at the volume she performs hers. She needs you to be the steady thing in the moment, the calm that her nervous system can anchor to, that lets the peak pass faster, that teaches her across many repetitions that arrivals are joyful and manageable rather than joyful and overwhelming. She wishes you knew that your calm in that moment is a gift. The ninth thing, the one that carries all the others, is that she is not trying to be difficult. Not when she jumps, not when she pulls, not when she barks, not when she chews, not when she does the thing you have asked her not to do 17 times and she does it again anyway. There is no defiance in her. There is no stubbornness in the moral sense. There is behavior generated by history, driven by association, shaped by everything she has learned in every interaction she has ever had. And none of it is aimed at making your life harder. She is doing her best, with the history she has, with the information available to her, with the nervous system she was born with, in the world she is trying to navigate without the language to tell you when she is confused or overwhelmed or uncertain about what is being asked of her. She wishes you knew that the behavior you find hardest is almost never the behavior she is choosing. It is the behavior that makes the most sense to her given everything she knows. Change what she knows and the behavior changes. It is that direct. And she is that ready. Most owners carry a version of their dog that is slightly more human than the dog actually is. A dog who knows better but does it anyway. A dog who understands the rule and chooses to break it. A dog whose misbehavior is a decision rather than a data point. Flip that. Your dog is not deciding anything against you. She is responding to her history, to the room, to the specific version of you she is reading in this moment. With the best available behavior her experience has equipped her to produce. Everything she does that confuses or frustrates you is a window into what she has learned, what she has not yet learned, or what her environment is currently asking of her, that she does not yet have the tools to navigate. She is not difficult. She is specific. And specific, once you understand it, is workable in a way that difficult never is. Think about the 9 things and how many of them have been operating in your household without your knowing. The hugs she was tolerating, the departures she was reading in the keys, the mood she was tracking in your footstep before you knew you were in it, the sniff you kept interrupting, the moment of real presence she was waiting for. She has been navigating all of it without being able to tell you directly, without the words for it, carrying the weight of an unshared language in a relationship she is committed to entirely. She chose you with everything she had. She has been trying to reach you with everything she has. She has been waiting patiently for you to find the frequency. You found it, and she has been here the whole time. Which of the 9 felt most like something you wish you had known sooner? And has there been a moment where understanding something about your dog changed everything? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.